Good.
Typical Tuesday practice, good physical day. Got a lot of work done, worked a lot of situations. Guys are getting acclimated out here, doing pretty good, and beautiful weather practice. So got great conditions, great field practice on. So we had a pretty good day for the day, and just got to continue to move on to Wednesday. Question?
How are you health-wise, all those guys that were banged up?
They're all practicing. They're all going.
Every single one of them?
Every single one of them. They're all good. It's glad to have them back.
When's the last time you've been this healthy?
It's been, I couldn't tell you. I can't remember that far back. Maybe the first day of camp.
Kim was talking earlier today about how close he is with Rashad and how Rashad really helped him out through all his off-the-field stuff. What have you seen from those two and their relationship?
It's always been that way. Rashad's always been the quiet guy on our team who always put things in perspective for everybody. He doesn't always he's not vocal till he has to be. And he sees things and just a very mature guy. And our guys have everybody on the team has a lot of respect.
He's kind of like one of those old soul kind of guys.
He is, but he can get emotional when he has to. He did it a couple times at halftime this year when he has to, but he doesn't do it. It's not natural for him to be a talker, but he's a behind-the-scenes guy and gets things. And people have respect for how hard he works, the way he carries himself, and all the things that way.
When the switch in the offensive line, I know you talked about it a lot, but like for the Miami game, that seemed like a pretty big stage for you guys.
It was.
To do that.
It was, but we thought, it got to a point, and two things. One, we thought it was time to do it because we needed to get that number of games under our belt, and two, the other guy, when we got the other positions ready, that was when that time came. It just happened to be the Miami game, and we decided we were going to go with it.
Was it pretty quickly during that game that you realized, okay, this is...
Yes, we felt very comfortable early in that game. Because mistakes we made, or we missed a third down or so, but those guys were playing well, coming off, and just the look in their eye, I felt very good about it.
Was it just that Ron was ready?
Yes. Like I say, you move Cam all you want to center, and we knew we could have done that. But our centers were okay and doing a solid job. But at the same time, you really weaken yourself at left tackle until somebody gets ready, and it just takes a while to get ready in that position.
How much were those couple plays he was in against Virginia that you felt okay?
He came in that game. He came in about 3 plays right there because our center got the helmet or something. I don't remember what it was, and jumped in there and did a nice job. And you said, man, he come out with a big smile on his face, happy. This isn't too big for him.
Do you remember when was the first time you told Rod that okay, you're going to be starting?
Yeah.
Was it during the week or?
Oh no, it was on that Sunday, or excuse me, Monday. Monday, and he jumped all over it.
Joe, because you did that, it changed the dynamic of your line, especially how physical they are in the middle. Has it changed the way maybe you've called things a little bit?
It definitely does. What protections you can call, what runs you call, the type of runs you call, and the ability for that center to get second level or have movement inside, at times, or Big Rod even, because he can pull and run in some of the things he does.
Joe, you look at the coaches who are in the semifinal, obviously you have a history with Nick and Urban. Any similarities between those two and you and kind of the way you've been able to build success at the places you've been?
I don't know. I mean, Nick and I work together. Right. We have similar philosophies on things, but we all, as a coach, you take parts and pieces from everybody. You know what I mean? And you kind of learn, but at the same time, you have to do them your own way. Because if you try to emulate I always say this, people who truly emulate other people won't follow those people because they become fake. You got to take and learn from everybody, but you got to do what you think is right. But I've learned from those guys. I've tried to learn from all coaches out there. They're very successful. Those two are as successful as anybody out there.
What can healthy Carlos Williams now mixing in with Dalvin? What can that bring?
It brings in a 1-2 package, or you can put them both in the backfield at the same time, and and then of course now we got Mario's really healthy too, so it brings a lot of diversity to things we can call and do.
Do you know Helfrich well at all?
Yeah, I do. I've known Mark for a while. We met a couple times out when we were recruiting long ago, and always had tremendous offenses, great offensive mind, and super guy. I think he's doing. These guys doing one heck of a job.
How much credit does Coach Dawsey deserve for Rashad's career and development and everything?
I think he's been a great mentor to us. I would say Rashad would be very similar to Dawsey in a lot of ways. Great player, not as big and as strong, but what I'm saying is from a demeanor standpoint, not always having to be a vocal guy, but great confidence, tremendous competitor, very intelligent, and when things needed to be said, he would do it. You know what I'm saying? And to me, he's one of the all-time greats here at Florida State that, you don't. I don't know if you go back and think about how good a player he really was, and you hear his teammates what he meant to them.
He said that Coach Dawsey was a big reason he ended up coming to Florida State. Do you remember the recruitment there and the kind of role that he played?
Yeah, it was. It was Eddie's area, but of course our position, being the position coach, got very involved in what we did. And I remember Rashad committed. I remember him crying on our couch with his family, and he never dreamed that those things would happen for him, and it was fun. It's great to see him take advantage of the opportunity.
One of the major things the Oregon team was talking about was the two-back system. They haven't really seen that this far this season. How do you see that being a major issue for them and utilizing that for your advantage?
Well, hopefully keeping fresh legs in the game. You know what I'm saying? Keeping fresh legs in the game, and guys that are both dynamic, with one with size, one with more speed and power, but a combination of speed and power. But, you know, keeping that fresh leg in the body, catch the ball out of the backfield, and, you know, create the mismatches when we have to, and being able to run that football consistently.
Jimbo, the deficits this year, I know it's been well documented, and coming back from those games. I know some of you've been working in practice, but was there a point this season where you were just like, that's it, this is who we are?
No, that's what we knew the whole time. I don't try to change. You don't try to force square pegs and round holes. Let teams develop their own identity and become who they are. And some games we started fast, some we didn't. I mean, we just the thing is, you got to play the game. It's a 60-minute game. So like I asked somebody, how many times has Usain Bolt been ahead at the 40, 50-meter mark at 100 meters? He never is. He's the fastest man that ever ran. He's never been ahead at that mark. I mean, there's always guys that start faster than him. It's how you finish and what you do.
That said, would you like to get out to maybe a 21-0 lead?
No, I'm not against that. If it happens, it happens. But then again, I won't want to get out there and stop. Mm-hmm. I mean, the key is playing the whole game and the flow of the game. That's what I say. When you go out there and say, I want to. It's like a quarterback saying, I want to throw these routes today. Well, what if the defense doesn't give them to you? You got to throw these routes. And if the game, you got to play when you start becoming bigger than the game. I'm going to start fast. I'm going to finish. No, just play the game. Play the best you can be. Play for 60 minutes.
Speaking of routes, how does Rashad's ability to run really precise routes help him and make
I think for one, he's not a massive guy.
Right.
So a lot of times massive guys get by with jumping over guys or, you know, not creating separation. His preciseness, his quickness, his ability to explode out of cuts, and then you don't realize how truly fast. I mean, he can run, bro. I mean, he's big time fast on the top end, but he can do it in the course of routes too. He's not just a guy who runs fast and gets out of control. He can keep control, and so that ability to stick his foot and do that, his body control allows him to be who he is.
Has he had that, you know, since y'all saw him?
Yes, he has. He's always had that ability to be extremely fast. You say, is he really running fast? You put the clock on, man, I mean, he's flying. I mean, it's just so smooth, but he's always under control. And I think that's what the great wideouts I've ever been around are guys that almost look like they're not running sometimes. And they're never out of control in their routes.
How good has Dawsey been this year? It's been so different for him. Last year he had those three guys he used the whole time, and they're very good players. This year he's actually had to, you know,
we've had to mold guys, different things, different avenues, learn what they can do. Dawsey's a heck of a coach, and he gets better and better each time. And I think that kids like him, they respect him, and they trust him.
Rashad said he's earning his paycheck this year.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, those young guys, but again, they're very talented guys.
Right.
But that's the thing, you got to mold it into a football player. Just because that's why I get that's talented. Well, all right, but how does he play football? Does your talent? I always ask guys, does his production equals talent? You know what I mean? And if it doesn't, why? And you keep letting them grow into that. And sometimes most guys don't. Most times, talent, you're always more talented early in your career than your production shows, because you got to learn what to do, how to do it, as they keep growing. Now these guys did it at a very fast pace, and it's a tribute to one, how Dawsey's coaching, and two, their intelligence.
Jimbo, on a competitiveness scale, where does Jameis rank in terms of guys you've been around his competitiveness?
He's at the top. I mean, there's been some guys just like him. And but he's right in there. I mean, it's if you're going against somebody, I always call it the Michael Jordanism. Have you ever heard the story of Jordan? I mean, and I say that, use that but he couldn't turn it off in practice. He could, you know, the great ones I've been around, and I've had a few of them. They couldn't. I mean, it didn't matter if we're playing. There's competition. They want to be the best. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something you don't turn off, and you don't ever want to turn off. You much rather say whoa than giddy up, and how to control those things. But it's hard to ever put in somebody. You either have it or you don't, and he's got it as much as anybody I've ever been around.
So one of the things people probably don't see about him in terms of how he is at practice, like that film study, those kind of things.
Oh, the 3 hours a night. I mean, how he affects guys on the team. People say when he gets on guys on the side, well, now they know, because he doesn't pray. Hey, come do this. Now we got to do this, and he makes points. I mean, you see Brady do it. You see Peyton Manning, all the great Elway, Marino. You saw them all. Those guys are truly, and they not only understand their job, but why they can do it. They understand the whole big picture. Even offensive linemen, you know, who they're supposed to block, or how protections are supposed to go, or how the route's supposed to be run, and how he wants it run. You know what I mean? That's when a quarterback and receiver really get in that same page. If he can go tell him, I want you to do it like this versus this, and that's what he can do.
Have you left the office late and seen him like, wow, it's 9 o'clock or whatever, and he's still up there studying film?
I don't leave at 9. We're still there. No, he'll get out of the way before we do, but I mean, after practice, he'll get in there till 8 or 9 in the evening, you know, and he'll be out.
Jimbo, they say teams take on the personalities of their coaches. Do you feel like this team is similar to your personality?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully from a competition standpoint, because that's why I think me and Jameis we get along so well and all the great, because we are molded like that. I can't. It's just the way I am, the way I've always been. And and hopefully from never giving up and competing until the last breath's out of you, you know, and then hopefully the confidence you have that you're going to win. Like I said, I've never walked on the field and thought we were ever going to lose, and I don't think this team does either.
Some of the players pointed to the spring game as the point where Jameis kind of took over and became the leader for this team. Is there a moment where you really said, you know, this is kind of what our team looks like? And
I don't know if there's a moment where you saw that all happen, but it just, when things happen consistently, you say, well, that's what you want. So at least I'm getting consistency. Now you can coach around it. Because one thing that's hard for a coach is when a player or a situation or a team is very erratic. And what I mean is, because like I say, certain receivers, if you don't do that route good, just don't do it good all the time. Or just do the ones you do well consistently. So I'll call those and won't call those. Or get somebody else in the game, or we'll work on that. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the thing that this team did. It became consistent on how it played, so you got to feel for his personality.
He said he felt like he has more confidence in his teammates than they sometimes have in themselves. You know, if you feel like yeah.
I think human nature, most people truly don't have true confidence. He does. I mean, it doesn't waver. Even I'll say, how does he throw 3 interceptions, throw 3 touchdowns? He thinks he's going to go through 3 touchdowns. Most people in life, we say we're confident, but in the back of our mind, we're going, my God, don't throw me the ball, or don't do this, or do I really want that pressure on me? You know what I mean? And I think he brings it out in them. Then all of a sudden they do it a couple times. They say, well, man, I am. And they grow. And I think there's always players on teams every year. No matter, sometimes it's quarterback, sometimes it may be a DB or certain. You know, Joyner had that. Telvin had that. You know what I mean? The personalities we had last year on defense that had that. That they put the confidence in the people around them, and then all of a sudden those guys do it a couple times and their confidence grows.
Yeah, because I mean, I was asking the defense about how Jameis affects that side of the ball. They said they don't want to let him down. Is that, I mean...
It's true, and that's what a team is. That's when you truly have the organization that you want to have, it's when both sides feel that towards the other, and they feel that. And they also know, hey, if we get scored, they will get a stop. Because our defense, how many critical stops they got during the year, or got turnovers, or created that play. And on defense, if we get one more stop, and we get the ball back in his hands one more time, we're going to win this football game. And to me, that's where it becomes very, very special. That's those 20 years from now. That's because those bonds that athletes and people share on teams, and people don't always understand. That you can look at a guy in the eye and not say a word and know what each other's thinking or feeling, and it's what's special about sports and being on a team.
2 more questions.
How far has Matthew Thomas come in his last month?
Oh, a ton. I mean, really understand, and I think you're going to see him. Hopefully, he'll knock it out and play well, and this, you know, this I say tournament, I guess it is, all the way through. But to grow in his career, because you start to see his production starting to match his talent, which is immense.
Trey Marshall earned some more playing time after how he played.
Trey Marshall's really going to be, I think, got a chance to be a really good player. I mean, he's got that old throwback. He reminds me of Joyner in a lot of ways, in his mentality and how he competes. And exactly, you know, I say those Lake City, I ain't been around many guys from Lake City and work tough, hard-nosed guys and compete like that. He is.